pastor, Tamar's pastor, Judy's pastor, Cherry's pastor, everybody's pastor.
Well, of course he's everyone's pastor. If you can do anything you want to do, and sin is not called out and anything goes, people are going to flock to your church. Hi, and welcome to Faith in Front. Let me say up front before any comments are made, hear me out all the way through before you make a comment, because it seems like when we critique something that could be perceived in a negative light, people will hear just only a few things and then respond to it. So if you leave a comment, please, which I appreciate the comments, but if you could just hear me out so that you respond to my whole thought pattern instead of a piece of it. Bishop William Murphy, early in the year, of course, he was in social media a lot because of his New Year's Eve service. Not really here to touch on that too much, although I do agree with, that some of the songs that were played, the words did not reflect Christ. And yes, you can put on something to give somebody a beat or a track. I don't have anything against that. But words go into our subconscious, and that's why we still have to be sensitive to lyrics and words and things like that, because they go in. It's like they go in through the back door. The music goes in through the front door because that's what we like. Yeah, I like the way that I like that track, but the lyrics go in through the back door, but they still go in, and they rear their ugly heads later on because they go into our subconscious. So that's why I do agree that the lyrics, I wasn't against having a good time or lit, whatever you want to call it, for the young people and them having a good, I wasn't against that, but I do think better judgment should have been used with the lyric content of that particular service. Now we see him on this show, and he's, of course, being affirmed by Debrat, who is in a same-sex marriage. So, of course, they're going to affirm him because he affirms them. And we get in trouble sometimes because I do believe in showing compassion to all people and showing the love of Christ. But I think what has crept into the church is the same thing that's in the culture. And that is that love equals affirmation. I have to affirm you in what you're doing in order to show that I love you. And we know that's not true. If those of us who are parents, do we affirm everything our kids do to show them that we love them? No. Did our parents affirm everything that we did to show us that they loved us? No. So I don't know how this mindset has taken hold, but it has. And I don't know if William Murphy this is his way of showing compassion. And I believe he should show compassion. And people will say, well, yeah, because Jesus met people where they were. And yes, he did. But Jesus didn't meet people where they were for affirmation. It was for transformation. Everybody loves the Jesus that met people where they were, but no one likes the Jesus who says, go and sin no more. So what's happening is you're having people who are coming up with their own Jesus, a Jesus that works for them. And at the end of the day, that's still idolatry, because God is not going to go against his own character just to show you that he loves you. He is not going to compromise his stance on sin to show you that he loves you. He'll meet you in the mud. He will. But he's not going to jump down there in the mud and dance with you. He's going to say, okay, it's time to come up. Come out of here now. Okay, be you holy, for I'm holy. That's why Jesus meets people where they are. So my point in reacting or sharing this is I'm always looking for teachable moments. And this teachable moment is just a reminder that we ought to be good salt. A while back, I did a video called Don't Send Mixed Messages as well. Because when we send mixed messages, the communication of the gospel gets muddy. That's what happens when you get mixed messages. And I'll try to put that in the description, a link to that video. But that's what happens. We muddy, we compromise the gospel. And it's a good thing to show people that you love them and that you have compassion for them, but you don't do it at the cost of the truth of God and his character and his ways. It says in Mark 9:50, salt is good, but if it loses its saltiness, how can you make it salty again? Okay, have salt among yourselves and be at peace with each other. Okay, in Matthew 5:13 it says, you are salt of the earth. Okay, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be salty again? Okay, it is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. That's what we're worth when we are not being good salt. Just throw it out. And it's amazing how a lot of these pastors, and people don't touch the anointed. No, it's nothing anointed about affirming a same-sex marriage. I'm sorry. It's not. There's nothing anointed about that. Okay, we love people, but we don't compromise. And I think, as I said before, this is where we get crossed up. Some people want to show love and compassion so much that they'll compromise the word. Some people don't want to compromise the word so much they don't show any love and compassion. But it's hard to show love and compassion when the definition of love and compassion, it keeps changing. Right? Because that's the type of culture we're in. We're in a culture where words and definitions just change midstream. Right? Because love is different. Love is love. We came up tough love, tell the truth. If you love someone, and I still believe that because scripture says love rejoices in the truth. Okay? You're not loving anyone if you're lying to them. You're not loving them. William Murphy, you're not loving Debrat and her wife. You're not loving them by affirming them. You're not. You may think you're loving them, but you're not loving them because love rejoices in the truth. Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. God is truth. And so when we start peddling things that are different, when we start affirming things that go against what God says, anything that goes against what God says is a lie. And if you start affirming a lie, okay, then you're going against truth, which means you're going against God. And a pastor, you shouldn't go against God just because you want to show people that you have compassion for them so much. It's not supposed to be about, he said, reclaiming the culture. It's not supposed to be about reclaiming culture. It's okay, good to be culturally relevant. Okay, it's good to be culturally relevant, okay, to make things understandable, okay, but you have to be careful with that because all of a sudden you move into something where now it's not about cultural relevance. It's, once again, we're just being fleshly. And people who like to be fleshly are the first ones to say, you shouldn't judge. That's just my own observation, People who like to be fleshly, that's their go-to. You shouldn't judge, which I've already talked about. That's incorrect. But that's their go-to because they just enjoy being fleshly. But I just wanted to share this because it is burdensome to see what's going on in the church, in the culture. Please leave a comment, like, and share if this has been helpful. If you disagree, okay, that's cool. We'll agree to disagree. Keep it moving. As usual. Keep your faith in front.